Real estate agent versus broker. Hi, I'm Paul R. Atkinson, your real estate coach. Today, we're going to talk about real estate agent versus broker. What are some of the things that you should consider and what are some of the things you should know both about the real estate agent and the broker? Before we get started, don't forget, subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. You want to stay in touch. Make sure you're notified whenever I come out with something that might be hot for you to grow that business. Also, feel free to comment at any time. Give me some feedback. Let me know if there's something that you want to hear or you want me to expand upon. You know I have a gift for you always, so don't forget to look in the description box below to find that gift. Let's get started, all right? So what are some of the things we should consider when we're thinking about a real estate agent versus a broker? Well, I started my real estate business, say, 16 years ago, right? So it's been quite a journey. And I've been a broker now for a little bit more than 6 years out of that 16 years. So quite an experience as well. But there's a lot to say about both. One of the things I learned about being a real estate agent is that when you first start out, you have to be the one to generate your leads. You have to be the one to bring business to yourself and bring business to the firm, the mothership, because you're a team. We all work together. The law says in most places that, hey, the real estate broker is mommy and daddy, so to speak, right? And we're the little ones. So they have to look after us. Well, it's only fair, right? Because you have to start out usually your first 2 years as being a real estate agent before you can be a broker. But during that time, you need to grow, develop, and understand how to protect the consumer. That's our main focus. Be responsible, be moral, be ethical. So how do you function as a real estate agent successfully? You need to generate business. And how do you generate business? Think of being an entrepreneur. And you know what I say about that. The first winning key as a real estate agent is for you and me to believe that we can get that buyer. Is to believe that we can get that seller to sign with us. That we believe that everybody in our transaction is going to go in the direction that we want them to go to get the deal closed. Belief. The second thing that I feed on is being persistent. Rome wasn't built in a day. So you have to practice, and keep. It's like, for me, it's like taking a nail and putting it to that wall or that wood, and you just hammer away. You can't, when you hit with a hammer, it doesn't go all the way in all at once. You have to hit it a few times. Keep hitting that nail. Keep hitting that nail. That's your key to success, being persistent and believing. As a real estate agent, in generating your own business, you need to focus on how to prospect and how to farm, selecting a farm area and working it. So being that entrepreneur, that agent that's successful and can produce leads, your real estate brokerage firm may provide you with leads, or you might subscribe and get leads. But the main thing is that you are walking, talking billboard for a real estate agent. You're wearing your name badge. Perhaps you have a magnet on your car. Perhaps you have clothing that has your company's logo and a little note on the back that you're a real estate agent, or a t-shirt. Whatever image you portray, it would always be professional. Always be professional. You want to attract those affluent clients. You want to attract everyone to come and do business with you and respect what you do. So prospecting involves in-depth, dedicated, day in, day out farming. So how do you do that? Well, some of the things you want to think about is, number one, make sure that your calendar is stacked and ram-packed with daily activities that, what I like to say, are income generating ideas. Write that down. Income generating ideas. So think about it. When you start out by making your planner and you say, hey, you know what? I like to be balanced personally. So I like to start out with my exercise. I served 14 years in the US Navy, and it's just kind of in me to start my day with an exercise. Plus, I love to get the endorphins from the workout. So I've got to have it. I'm an addicted runner. So what you want to do is make sure that you start out with your exercise. Get yourself pumped up. That's just my recommendation. You don't have to do it, but I know it's good stuff. You want to stay healthy. So after you get yourself with the running or the exercise on your calendar, next thing is the income generating idea, because running it's going to motivate you. Make some phone calls. So make 2 hours of phone calls. Then next you can do some marketing mail out pieces, design some marketing pieces to go out. You want to have lunch with someone that can bring you business. And that's what I call a COI. So I always connect with a bunch of COIs. Just think about it. You're living in a town and you know many people. So you give them a call. Those are your COI. Those are your center of influences. Perhaps it's that lady that works at the apartment complex that she is the front desk receptionist. Get to know her or him and say, hey, once in a while, maybe once a month, twice a month, that's one of your COIs. Give them a call. Say, hey, I'm about to take lunch at 1. What time are you taking it today? Oh, 12. I'll tell you what, I'll come join you. Let's go so-and-so. Just have a chat. Just relax. Don't ask for any business. Just relax and just enjoy the time with the person. So that's just an organic, natural way for you to prospect and believe in your community. That's very important for you to do that. Continuing to work on your calendar. After lunch, what can you do? You can get back to start making some additional marketing pieces, perhaps looking into your CRM, your customer relationship management system, see what's going on, shoot some emails out, maybe readjust or set up some campaigns, which are drip emails for you to have going consistently. Look at your contacts. Make sure everybody are in the right groups. So when the campaign starts to flow, everybody's getting the most appropriate information. That's very important. So after that, you've had lunch, now you come back and you started to look at marketing, look at it in your CRM. It's towards the end of the day now. You know that's a good time for phone calls because people are coming home, they're getting freed up from work. Hey, make some more phone calls. Get some calls out to some people just to say hi, or to be aggressive and say, hey, you've been looking at properties now. I've seen you on my website for a few days. Are you ready to go? Would you like to see homes this Friday or Saturday? Make an alternate proposal when you make that phone call to that prospect that's been on your site for so many times. And you can end the day by doing what? You know what I'm going to tell you. Set up the next day. Don't you ever, as a business person, leave that office until you've looked at the current day, assessed it, see what you've done, and make the next day. If you want to learn more about how to put together your calendar, just look in the description box below, find that link of how you could make that calendar and engage, and I'll provide you that script, I'll provide you that training, okay? Don't forget, hit the subscription button as well, and also provide me with any comment. Just type in there right now if you want to hear more about something or if you want to expand on something, all right? So as we continue on, what is the difference between the agent and the real estate broker? Remember, the agent is somewhat of that individual that brings the business primarily individual, just like on an individual basis. But if you're on a team, you're still part of the team, but majority as an agent, you're responsible to get out there and work those leads, and make business. So income generating ideas is one of the best way to think about it, and just put that on your calendar. Write that down. What are income ideas, right? What are income generating ideas? Write that down. What are income generating ideas? Very good. So We understand what an agent is about, and you have to get licensed, of course, by your state. Then you have to also pass an exam, and that's part of the licensing, and you are required by the law to put that license with the real estate broker. And in most cases, most jurisdictions, you have to be with the broker for a minimum of 2 years before you can even be qualified to be a broker. And in the space of those 2 years, you learn how to generate business, how to be a prospective finder. Because when you become a broker, there is a larger picture here. You're responsible for the entire community. You're Papa Bear, Mama Bear. It's very important that you realize there's so much involved. So let's get started now on the broker. Okay, so we've just spent some time talking about the real estate agent. Now let's talk about the real estate broker. Remember, I mentioned earlier that the real estate broker is like Mama Bear, Papa Bear. They're responsible by the state, by your region, to supervise and to encourage and to train and to do like everything for the brokerage firm and for the success of the brokerage firm. So the main purpose of a broker is to ensure that we're protecting the public. And as we're protecting the public, we're also protecting our agents from misconduct. We need to train them. They need to be trained. They need to be motivated. They need to be equipped with all the tools that will make them successful. So some of the things that the broker has to consider is, for example, what do we do for accounting practices? It's good to get a very distinguished or very good accounting firm that can help with the accounting practices. You have to consider payroll. You have to do unemployment taxes. You have to do taxes. You know, we're all over the world right now, so I don't know where you are. But when you're having to do payroll, in most cases, you have to pay taxes and set aside monies towards the requirements of the law. So a good accounting firm or payroll firm or company can assist you with that in making things nice and lean, cost effective. You have to watch that cost, that overhead cost. The second thing that you want to consider in running the operations is that you should also think about your transaction management. And today, everything is online. We're paperless. So subscribe to some kind of system that would allow you to have your agents submit their documents, their files into the system where you can be compliant in reviewing the documents and making sure everything is in accordance to the law, the guidelines, your governing body. Who you have to protect here, you have to protect the consumer and you have to protect your agents to make sure they're not at fault in any reason. So make sure you manage the transactions in the most effective way. You want to learn more about that? Just click in the description box below, take a look, click on the link, and connect with me, and I will show you even more in depth on that. You should also think about, besides your transaction management, you want to think about your marketing system. What do you use for marketing? And typically, a good CRM, customer relationship management system, will provide for maybe 100 or even hundreds of agents that you can add on to that system. These systems allow you to provide each of your realtors, each of the agents, the ability to have their own website. But it's nice and uniformed as a team. So the brokerage firm website looks impeccable. It's very functional. It feels good. It looks good. So does the agent who is a team member. And they need this benefit. This is part of their tool, that they'll need to have a website that is functionable, that feels right, and that the consumer can come in and they can use the site to search for properties, having that IDX feed and everything else that they need, the demographics research, that a seller can come and find out the marketing materials that you use to promote that real estate agent's business is also important for you to have. Now, as you continue on in all of your operations, you will need to also think about training. How do you train the realtors? One of the biggest things brokers have is what's called realtor engagement. Realtor engagement means that the realtors are either engaging effectively or on a regular basis or a lot, or they're not. But in most cases, most brokerage firms, real estate agents are not engaging with the brokerage firm. They're not participating in the events, in the training, in the talks of the brokerage firm. It's an epidemic. So how can you decrease that epidemic? One of the things I like to say is touch everyone once each month. That's my motto. So I'll make sure I tell my staff, I want on my schedule. When I start a month, my staff already know. I don't care if I have 100 or 200 agents. I have to find 5 minutes for my population to say, hey, on the phone, no text message, no emails, a phone call. I want to hear their voice. I want them to hear my voice. And that's how you begin to create that culture of engagement that is more than the typical brokerage firm. Call your agents on a regular basis, once a month. Let them hear from you. If you have a smaller group, 10, 20 people, 30 people, then guess what? You could call your agents maybe twice a month, which is wonderful. I always get a lot of feedback from my agents. They always say, Paul, one thing I truly enjoy about being with you is that you always are available. And not only that, but you stay in touch. You provide so many tools. Be that broker of support for your agents. Be of support for them. So those are some of the main things that you should know, the distinction between an agent and a broker. And finally, for the real estate broker, one of the main things, besides the accounting practices, the transaction management practices, and the training practices, one of the main things that I've learned over the many years that I've been a broker is that you never want to stop, and you want to write this down. You never want to stop recruiting. Your population expires within a year, 2 years. People will come and people will go. Some people will stay, the average real estate agent will stay with a firm maybe 2 years statistically, depending on where you are in the country or in the world. But you want to know those stats. Do your research and make sure you know the stats for your territory. What is the average lifespan of an agent inside of a brokerage firm? And keep that in mind. So when you recruit someone, just know that, oh, wait a second. The lifespan here is it's like buying a carton of milk. There's an expiration date on it. Oh yeah, I learned that the hard way. Many years ago when I first started out, I stopped recruiting for 1 year because I felt so good with my team and I didn't want to be bothered with anybody else. But at the end of the day, we had a successful year. The next year came around and things changed for my top producers. They get married, relocating. They hated to leave, but they had to go. And guess what? I wasn't recruiting in the past year. Oh, never stop recruiting. Okay? It's an ongoing process. Even if you have a superior team, never stop recruiting. Always. So build yourself a recruiting team. And one of the ways how to do that, I can explain even further in depth. Go to the description box below, see what I have there, click on that. And don't forget, make sure you did subscribe because I very much come often with things that can help you to increase that production. Now, talk a little bit more about the broker and recruiting. When you are building a recruiting mechanism inside of the firm, it involves these 3 things. 1, you should have a dedicated recruiter. 2, you should have a call center built in. And 3, you need an impeccable interviewer. The interviewer typically is you. If you train someone to be like you, who has that selling skills, who can identify what the wants and the needs are of the freshly recruited or prospective recruit sitting in your chair, you need to discover what they want as a realtor. What do you want in your real estate practice? What do you need in your real estate practice? Oh, well, our firm can give you what you want and can give you what you need. So, sign here. No, it's not that easy, guys. But it's somewhat like that. We could show you more how to do that in depth. It takes a lot of practice. However, you can achieve that. So what are the differences between a real estate agent and a broker? We've talked about that today. I always enjoy being with you. Don't forget to subscribe. Also, look in the description box below for your gift. Always my pleasure. Love to give gifts. And I know it's going to be beneficial to you. You want to learn more about what I've talked about. I know this is a short video. Just connect with me. Hit the comment button. Click on the links below and get what you need to be that effective real estate agent and to be that effective broker that builds the population, builds the business, control and dominate in the market, gain market share on a consistent basis year after year after year. I could show you how to do that. Just click below. So until next time, it's always a pleasure to see you. And you know what I like to say? Go get 'em, Tiger.